Hello everyone, welcome to watch my OpenCV video. Cafe here. Today I will show you how to build your own OpenCV with contribution library. Since a lot of advanced OpenCV applications rely on functions only appear in contribution library, this video is a step-by-step tutorial to install OpencCV4 with contribution library in Windows 10. It works for both C++ and Python users. Let's start with downloading the installation guide in GitHub. This is the link. From the repository, we can find the PDF installation guide. Let's go ahead and download that. After you download this installation guide, we can start the following installation process. The first step is to download all the software and the OpenCV libraries. Here in the installation guide, I listed all the software we need for this tutorial. You can just click on the link and download them. I highly recommend you to download the exact version I mentioned here. Let's do it. First is Visual Studio 2015. The Visual Studio 2015 community version is what we need. This version is free to download, but first time you may ask to create an account and to join in the Visual Studio Dev Essential. To do that, you can just go ahead and click on it. And say join, confirm. Then you are done. And then we can go back and click on the link again. And this time, all the version available to download is listed here. And what we need is Visual Studio Community 2015 with Update 3. You can either download EXE or DVD version. Personally, I download the DVD version. And you can go ahead and click download. Next one is CMake. And we would like to download the 3.13.2 Win64x64.msi version. This one is a GUI version. And the next is Anaconda. Similarly, click on the link and you can find the download here. And the rest is OpenCV source code. And we would like to download the source code version or the ZIP version. Click on it to download. The OpenCV 4.0.1 is the newly released version. If when you are watching this week's video and cannot find the link, you may want to go down and click next to find the formal version. Similarly to contribution library, we can do the same. Also, we want the ZIP version here. After you finish all the download, you can organize them in the same folder, like here. Here, we need the 5 files for this tutorial: Visual Studio, CMake, Anaconda, OpenCV source code, and the OpenCV contribution library. Again, you may want to check the version is exactly the same I mentioned in the installation guide. And after this done, we can go ahead and install this software. The installation is very straightforward. Here I would like to mention to install Visual C++ compiler. After you install Visual Studio 2015, the Visual C++ compiler may not install yet. In order to check that, we can simply build an empty VC++ project. I will show you how to do that. We open Visual Studio and click New Project. Then for Visual C++, there should be an option that says Empty Project. If it is not there, you can find the installation option, and that's how you install the VC++ compiler. Here we don't need to build a new project yet. And you can check the installation guide. There are some options when we install the CMake and also for Anaconda, and that's the option we would like to choose. And for OpenCV source code and OpenCV contribution library, we can just simply extract them into a same folder. Here I extract them to OpencCV4 folder in my C disk. Here is my folder, and you can see the 2 folders are extracted here. And after this, step 2 is done. Okay, next step, we will use CMake to build C++ projects. First, let's open the CMake and type CMake. And here we need to specify the source code and the binary codes. The source code is where our OpenCV core source code is at. Here is our address. Just be careful when you extract the file. It is possible that you make the file under another folder, and here is where the source code at, and you should use this address. And in order to make it less complicated, let's just cut it. Okay, and now it's our source code address, and we should use browse source. Paste here, select folder, and for binary code, I highly suggest that you build a another folder right under the source code. For example, here's my source code, and I will build create another folder. Okay, and after this is done, you click configure, and it will give you this notification, and you can say yes. Then you should choose the compiler Visual Studio 14 2015 Win64 version, and choose this default option and say finish. And now it will start to configure, and this will take a while. And we will wait to see if the configuration is successful. For this part, some potential error include if you didn't specify the right source code address, or you haven't installed the C++ compiler, it will give you some errors. And you can just go back if you have encountered those errors. You can just go back to install C++ compiler or use the right source code. Okay, after it is done, you can see that here it says configuring done. We can see there are some Simon color items, and those are the changed items for the configuration. And for this step, we will do two things. As mentioned in the installation guide, we will check install C example. Here, and we also need to specify path for OpenCV extra modules. That's our contribution library. Here. And remember, we have put our OpenCV contribution library in this folder, and remember, use this modules folder. Let's use browse, click, select folder, and this is our folder. In this step, some error may encounter if you didn't specify the right path. For example, you miss the modules, then it will give you some error. Okay, and then after this is done, we will go ahead and click configure, and it will start to configuration. Now the configuring is done. Remember, this is our second time configure, and we have this change. And in the third time configure, we also need to do some change. One is to uncheck the build OpenCV salience, which is here. Oh, good. Uncheck this because later on it will give some error when we build the project. And then we will click configure and do our third time configuration. After all this is done, remember we have 3 times. We configure the CMake for 3 times, and then we can click generate and wait for a while. Looks like it is not very slow. And after generating is done, now let's check if this step 3 is successful, let's go to our OpenCV address, go to the build folder, and what we are looking for is this file called OpencV.sln, and later we will use this file to continue our following step. And step 3 is done. After initialization is done, it says ready here, we will find a project called allbuild, which is under CMake targets, and we will right click that and click build, and we should check whether the mode is under debug and x64, and in the installation guide I told you if it is not x64 how to change that. And we need to build for both debug and the release version for allbuild, and believe me, it will take a while. And after allbuild is done, we will build for install for both debug and release version. So again, first for allbuild, debug, allbuild, release, then install for debug, install for release. And if there's no error happened, we can just go ahead and finish this process. But for install build, it is likely we will encounter a problem, which I also mentioned in the installation guide. So here is the problem we are highly likely to encounter, which says cannot open file Python 37. To solve this, we just need to go back to CMake and find this build OpenCV Python 3 and uncheck that, and click configure and generate again, and then go back to our Visual Studio and build for install again until there's no error happen. And after this is done, step 4 is done. Now we are almost done. In step 5, we will update the environment variables. To do that, let's go to this PC and the properties and advanced system setting, and choose environment variables. So first we need to change the path for system variables, which is here. And it's edit. Here I have already added one, and you can add yours. Remember, it is the OpenCV, your OpenCV address, then at this part. Okay. And for user variables, seems like I don't have my user variables yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, sorry, it's this one. So yeah, I have already added as well. So for user variables, add a item. The variable name is OpenCV sub_dir. Then this is the variable value is your OpenCV address. Then add build, then install, and choose OK. And up to now, all the installation is done. Now let's test if our installation is successful. Let's go to GitHub, and in the GitHub there's a test case. Here you can download it, and I have already downloaded that. Here is my test case, and in the test case there are 5 files, 3 images, a CMake list file, and a C++ file. And you should put that in your OpenCV, the same disk as your OpenCV. For example, mine is at the C disk. To demonstrate that, I will just put in some to any arbitrary folder. For example, this one. Let me delete this. Okay, so here is my test case folder, and to test the case we also need to use CMake, and let's open CMake again. And similarly, for the source code, you should choose where this CMake list is at. Let's go ahead and do that. And also the binary folder, let's just choose the build folder, and you can go ahead and click configure and choose yes, finish, and you can see there's a new folder created. And after this is done, click generate, and in the build folder we can find a solution file. Go ahead and click that. And here there's a project named OpenCV_test. Right click on that and click on set as a startup project. Then you can click local Windows debugger or press F5. And if you can see this result, which means your OpenCV installation is successful. So this is the tutorial for today. Hope you liked the video. Please make some comments on the comment section. See you next time.